lands of the Kaurna people, and I respect their spiritual relationship with their country. And to those of you from industry and business and research and academic organisations, thank you very much for taking time out of your days to join us today here at Tonsley and also online. It's you, the businesses and industry leaders and researchers that generate the knowledge, drive the innovation, the investment and growth in our economy, create jobs and provide opportunities for skilled careers here in South Australia. I know how valuable your time is, so a massive thank you for taking time out of your days to be here today for this Growth State event. I'd also like to acknowledge the Honourable David Pizzoni, MP, the Minister for Innovation and Skills, who's probably one of the most passionate people in South Australia when it comes to the role of innovation, enterprise and skills, and especially skills connected directly to employment. So thank you, Minister, for joining us today. Today, Minister Pizzoni will launch the High-Tech Sector Plan 2030. It's one of 9 priority growth sectors identified in Growth State, which is government's plan for the South Australian economy to grow at an annual rate of 3%. After hearing from Minister Pizzoni, there will be a panel discussion with key business leaders that represent a broad cross-section of the high-tech sector in South Australia. And for those of you that can stay, there's an opportunity to enjoy afternoon tea and networking over in 3 little pods, and apologies to those people joining virtually, you'll need to sort your own afternoon tea. So what you'll take away from today is government and industry are committed to working together to grow the high-tech sector in South Australia. Achieving an ambitious growth target will require technical capability, connections, collaboration, new skills, investment and access to global markets. And we'll hear insights from industry leaders about what's needed to achieve that growth. And we do have great foundations for growth in high-tech sector in South Australia. We've got capability within our universities and our research institutions, and a strong alignment to the Commonwealth Government's growth agenda, and obviously significant capability within our business and industry sector. So now, without me speaking much further, please join me in welcoming the Minister for Innovation and Skills, the Honourable David Pizzoni.
Thank you very much, Adam, and it is terrific to be here, both for those of you that are here in person and those online, welcome. And a particular welcome to our Ministerial Advisory panel members, Anthony Kittle from Red Arc, Michelle Perugini from Life Whisperer, Tammy Barton from My Budget, and Adrian Fay from Sage Automation. Thank you very much for your work. Firstly, I acknowledge the Kaurna people as the traditional owners of the land we meet on today, and we respect their spiritual relationship with the country. Well, it is terrific to be here to launch the High-Tech Sector Plan for High-Tech Sector Plan 2030, one of 9 industry sector plans forming the basis of our Growth State initiative here in South Australia. Growth State aims to drive economic growth by leveraging our competitiveness, and South Australia's high-tech sector is well placed to do that. Nationally, the technology sector contributes $122 billion to the Australian economy, with a potential to generate a further $50 billion a year. It's the nation's 6th largest sector, employing nearly 580,000 people, and it's a key enabler of many industries and services, including water, energy, healthcare, education, defence, communications and transport. While the high-tech sector is still developing, we're already seeing many South Australian success stories, particularly in our growing areas of defence, space, cybersecurity, health, mining and energy. The High-Tech Sector Plan 2030 is a result of extensive industry consultation and research. It provides insights into the opportunities, challenges and priority actions to grow this vibrant, dynamic and rapidly advancing sector. The plan sets a vision for our state to become globally recognised as one of the world's leading high-tech centres, with a thriving skilled workforce supporting on a diverse and connected ecosystem of business, researchers and investors. To achieve this vision, the plan identifies 8 frontier technologies to support and drive economic growth. Industry 4.0, cyber security, quantum computing, Internet of Things, computer vision, augmented reality and virtual reality, blockchain, artificial intelligence, machine learning, advanced data analytics, and optics and photonics. Developments in these technologies are already pushing the boundaries of possibility, from establishing the source of food and wine supplies through blockchain to improving health outcomes using artificial intelligence, securing critical supply chains using advanced manufacturing. And now we've seen ambitious growth, and we are setting an ambitious growth target of 6% per annum to 2030. And with a gross value added expected to rise from 204 million to 365 million over that period. To achieve this target, the plan focuses on strategic priorities to grow the sector, including strengthening technical capability, connections and collaboration, new jobs and career pathways, and collaborations between business and researchers will go hand in hand in developing a workforce with the skills and passion to co-design and co-create solutions that will become new products and services for global markets. We must deliver innovative responses to today's challenges if we're going to attract talent and investment to our state, and build our reputation as a globally recognised destination for the high-tech sector by 2030. As we enter a new decade faced with increasingly complex economic and industrial environments, particularly in the wake of COVID-19, building capability in South Australia's high-tech sector and growing our skilled workforce has never been more important. And the Marshall Liberal Government is committed to addressing these priorities. We've already invested $9 million in the Australian Cyber Collaboration Centre at Lot 14 and $8 million to implement our Science Innovation Strategy, Excite, which focuses on building connections between industry and researchers. And today I'm pleased to announce a further $2.5 million over 4 years to continue South Australia's Gig City program. Gig City provides more than 380 entrepreneurs and small businesses at 23 precincts across South Australia, including here at Tonsley, with affordable, ultra-high-speed internet connectivity. This investment will ensure our established and developing high-tech businesses will have the tools to strengthen their capability to connect, collaborate, access new markets and grow. This year has provided significant opportunities for South Australia to leverage Commonwealth expenditure in science, manufacturing, research and innovation. The recently announced $1.3 billion Modern Manufacturing Initiative will see the federal government invest in projects to help manufacturers scale up, build competitiveness and resilience, and create jobs and grow the economy across several priority areas. And the Marshall Liberal Government will work closely with industry, research institutions and innovation districts to develop proposals for this program to supercharge our high-tech sector and develop a modern manufacturing capabilities. This is a strong plan for South Australia's high-tech sector, and I thank everybody who has been involved in bringing this plan together. I look forward to forging new partnerships with business and research community to implement the actions of this strategy, develop new products and services for global markets, and to make South Australia the hub for high-tech jobs, innovation and growth. And now it is my great pleasure to officially launch the High-Tech Sector Plan 2030. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. So it is an ambitious goal to achieve growth of 6% per annum to 2030, and that's obviously going to require very strong partnerships between industry, research and government. We'll also rely on how well we can create new knowledge and capitalise on it, involving the development of new technologies, the adoption of technology and access to capital and global markets. So before I introduce our panel of speakers, I'd also just like to acknowledge a couple of other people here joined us here today. So the Vice-Chancellor of Flinders University, Colin Sterling, thank you very much for joining us today. And Leonie Muldoon, the Chief Executive of Department for Investment and Trade. Thank you, Leonie, for joining us today. So I'd now like to introduce our panel members. who will be discussing the development and adoption of frontier technologies, the importance of collaboration, the changing nature of skills, and how technology can create value by helping to solve problems for customers that are willing to pay for those solutions. So our panel members are Anthony Kittle, the CEO and owner of RedArc, a Lonsdale-based advanced manufacturer supplying portable power products to the automotive, mining, defence, trucking, agricultural and marine industries. Born in Port Augusta, Anthony is a qualified mechanical engineer. He holds an MBA and in 2018 was conferred an honorary doctorate in recognition of his focus on workplace culture, product development and his investment in the business leaders of tomorrow. Anthony is the National Vice President and SA Branch Councillor of Australian Industry Group, Chair of the Flinders University Engineering and ICT Industry Advisory Board, and is a member of the Adelaide University Business School Industry Advisory Board. He's also the immediate past chairperson of the South Australian Training and Skills Commission. Welcome, Anthony.
Yeah.
Dr. Michelle Perugini, co-founder and CEO at Precigen and Life Whisperer. Michelle is an academic and an entrepreneur. After spending the first 13 years of her career in health and medical research, specialising in predictive genetics and translational medicine, she co-founded ISD Analytics, which was subsequently acquired by EY in 2015. Precigen is an AI platform that specialises in image-based medical diagnostics, and Precigen's first product is Life Whisperer, which uses AI and computer vision to better select healthy embryos during the IVF process. In addition to running her business, Michelle is also an advisory board member for the University of South Australia Business School and a dedicated advisor and mentor for many startups here in South Australia. Tammy Barton. Tammy is one of Australia's most influential businesswomen and female entrepreneurs. Tammy is the founding director of My Budget, which began as a home-based business in South Australia more than 20 years ago, and has since grown into one of Australia's most trusted and recognised financial services brands. Through her work at a legal firm, Tammy witnessed the impact of financial hardship on clients who had little understanding about how to reduce their debts and take control over their finances. Tammy has since grown My Budget into a national company employing more than 270 staff across Australia, Sri Lanka and the Philippines, and has helped more than 110,000 clients. She's won the Telstra Businesswoman of the Year, South Australia twice, the Australian Government Business Innovation Award, Ernst & Young's Young Entrepreneur of the Year, and was on the Bank SA Advisory Board for 7 years. Tammy is currently an active board member of Project Gen Z and is on the advisory board at the University of Adelaide School of Management. Thank you, Tammy, and welcome. And Adrian Fay. Adrian is the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Sage Group, which includes Sage Automotive, Nukon, Embedded Expertise and Skills Lab. Adrian's led the growth of Sage from 44 million to 110 million, from 1 to 13 offices across Australia, as well as 3 in India, acquired 5 businesses, and he leads a high-performance team of more than 470 people. Adrian holds a number of board and council positions both domestically and internationally, including International Control System Integrators Association. Welcome to the panel and thank you all for joining us. Okay, so I'm going to jump straight into the questions, and my first one's for you, Anthony. The high-tech sector plan identifies 8 frontier technologies that will support economic growth in South Australia. I'm going to roll these out, so it might take me a while. Industry 4.0, cybersecurity, quantum computing, the Internet of Things, computer vision, augmented and virtual reality, blockchain, artificial intelligence, machine learning and advanced data analytics, and optics and photonics. Has your business used any of these technologies, Anthony, to grow? And in your experiences, particularly growing an SME in South Australia, what are some of the challenges for a South Australian SME in adopting new technology?
Thanks, Adam, and firstly, congratulations, Minister, on this report and everyone who played a role in bringing this document to life today. It's a great achievement. In terms of RedArc, we're looking at, we're actually using 5 or 6 of those key areas, and the other 2 being optics and photonics. We've got some R&D projects that we're working on implementing that technology as well. So, for instance, a challenge in measuring fuel in tanks is an issue, particularly where these tanks are moving and you have sloshing, and photonics can play a real key opportunity in accurately determining the volume of fuel, for instance, in an application like that. In terms of the technologies that we have employed, obviously cyber security has been a massive opportunity, and in the last 12 months we've partnered with Saab Systems and fully overhauled our overall cyber security mandate in the business, grown our skills, and I guess become to a point where we're in that the right area for a defence related business. Things like augmented reality. All of our customer service team have an app that we can diagnose in real time anywhere in the world a customer issue, whether it be some wiring in a vehicle or a product application issue in real time. And you can be anywhere as long as you've got internet availability, which for our customers is a great way to offer them service above and beyond. We have a number of vehicles, AIV, automated intelligent vehicles that wander around our factory and deliver products just in time to our production cells. So they're highly useful. And two of our key products talk to the cloud and give information to our customers and feedback information back to our business. So connected products is definitely a key area. Overall, though, we have an Industry 4 strategy. We started that in 2015, and good to see Frank Wagner from Fraunhofer in the audience and now UniSA. It was through getting to know Frank back in the early 2000s, engaging Fraunhofer in 2015. We've implemented our Industry 4 strategy. I'm pleased to say that we've just recently partnered with Australian Manufacturing Growth Centre, and we're investing $860,000 into Industry 4 at Red Arc over this next 12-month period. So that's what we're doing. I guess in terms of the challenges, I think some of the questions that you asked later around talent is probably the challenges for South Australia in attracting and retaining talent. We'll discuss that further. But I think none of this can be done on your own. You need partnerships. You need partnerships with universities. You need partnerships with SMEs. And you need partnerships with the right expertise. And so we're trying to do all of that. And I think for South Australian SMEs, you can't do it alone. You need to work together. And I guess as larger companies, we have a responsibility to mentor and guide other companies through the journey. And our doors at Red Arc are open for anyone who'd like to come and have a look around and swap notes on how we can help you and vice versa implement these technologies.
That's great. Thank you, Anthony. And there's a couple of things in that response. So there's the technology for internal productivity improvement. You mentioned the AIVs that are sort of on the shop floor. The connected product and service. But then obviously, solving some of those problems for your customers, which I would imagine would have global application as well. So the role that technology can play both at a internal capability and productivity improvement level, but also the role that it plays in developing new product and service for global markets. So thank you. Okay, my next question is for Michelle. So Michelle, your business is at the forefront of developing new to world technology. How critical is it that SMEs have the capability to not only adopt but also develop new frontier technologies that can be scaled and taken to the world?
Yeah, thanks, Adam. I also want to commend everyone who's been involved in putting the plan together. It's actually quite a challenging one because the high-tech sector capabilities kind of cut across every industry. So it's really difficult to put together a solid plan that kind of encapsulates all of those usages. I guess we're in the artificial intelligence space where we've got a global first mission. We're a small company, yet we're selling products around the world to many different markets. And that kind of proposes a unique set of challenges, but it also shows that the scale and the breadth that technology can impact right from here is a huge opportunity on the world stage. And so we talked about kind of internal usage and consumption of technology, but there's also a real opportunity, I think, for South Australia to be a key player in creation of that technology. And I really like the vision of the plan, which is really heavily focused on being a world leader and globally recognised in terms of the technology sector, and that's something that we can achieve with technology. We're not at a geographical disadvantage. We've got all the connectedness of the different parts of the ecosystem and the talent pool. Obviously, there's work to be done, which is why you implement a plan like this, but it's a really exciting time, I think, to be really looking at how we develop technologies that can be used on the world stage. And just to give you a bit of an example, I guess, from our experience within our company, we produce this product called Life Whisperer, which is using artificial intelligence for embryo selection during the IVF process. And what we realised very quickly is if we wanted to deploy this product to the world, we had to solve some key global challenges around data access in the healthcare space. So data is locked up in different clinical environments. Its access is restricted by data privacy laws, which are different in every country in the world. And we had to create capability, which is now world-leading, called federated AI training, that can allow us to send our AI out to train on each of those different individual global data sets without ever moving the data. Now, that's a global underpinning capability. Sure, it allowed us to build Life Whisperer, but it's also a capability that's going to allow us to build many more products that can compete on the world stage where others can't. So I guess I just want to echo the sentiments of utility of this technology, and the importance of the capabilities that are outlined in the plan are really immense, and it's a huge opportunity for us as a state to really grow this sector. Yeah.
Thank you, Michelle. And, some of the points you make there around that, I think we've all heard the term tyranny of distance, and I think if anything we've seen, particularly throughout 2020, is that can be overcome through technology. So, this ambition to compete globally, I think we need to stay committed to that. So we're not competing against the business up the road. We're competing in a global environment, and that mindset of global competition is critically important. And you've demonstrated that you can manage to solve some of those global challenges and compete on a global stage. So thank you. So Adrian, disruptive changes to business models brought about by new technologies is likely to have a profound impact on the employment landscape. So we've heard the World Economic Forum say that 65% of children entering primary school today will work in a job that doesn't yet exist. So what challenges does that present for you, and how do you attract and develop, including upskilling and retraining, the right people for your business?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and echo the previous two panellists in saying what a great piece of work that's been created here, so congratulations to everyone that's been involved. I guess upskilling or reskilling or new skilling people is a challenge that's going to face everyone moving forward, and I really would have to compliment the government and the work that's being done there now, bringing industry and the learning institutions more closely together. And we've experienced that firsthand working here with Flinders and TAFE SA in producing new training to really target that future market. And it's not just about university degrees, it's also about a whole new regime of training. So I was fortunate enough to be with the Minister last week when they launched for new the Digital Engineering Higher Apprenticeship, which is now looking at a very different way of training school leavers. So if they weren't looking for potentially a pathway into university, here's an opportunity for them to get real engineering experience, but also learn in a working environment where they're getting paid to learn. So I think that's going to be quite exciting. I think also it's about the way that we attract people earlier in that discussion piece, and that's certainly the kids of the future. So that's our responsibility to create an exciting environment where they'll want to get engaged in technology. And I think the real challenge there is when you think about our kids and the future kids, they're already digital ready. So a lot of people talk about how do we get the skills for the kids of the future generation. They already have them. What we need to do is just hone them and give them a reference point to industry. They're already solving problems. I know when I look at my kids and what they're doing online at the moment and what they're working on at home, that in some cases that's very similar to what we're already doing in industry. So I think it's industry's opportunity to put out there the challenges so the kids understand what they are. It's also a chance for us to look at our industry differently. I think for us, we've really recentered the whole purpose of our business around smarter future, better world. So rather than just talking about the cool engineering things that we're actually delivering, so whether it's working on things like ANSTO on their synchrotron in Victoria or the nuclear facility in New South Wales, these are great things that get kids excited. But what's more important is what's the outcome that's delivering. So we're helping doing life-saving research that will hopefully save someone's life in the future. So I think focus on the outcome of what we're producing, and I know the people that I'm lucky and very honoured to share this panellists, whether you look at what Anthony's doing, he's just talked about some of the exciting technology they're using, IVF and what you're doing there, that's changing people's lives. And Tammy, I know my budget's had a massive impact on people I know. So I think focusing on the outcomes that we're delivering and getting kids to understand that the STEM space, it's not just about engineering, it is about changing people's lives. So I think that's going to really attract more people.
Terrific, thanks Adrian. And some of those challenges and opportunities there, bringing industry and learning institutions closer together, developing new training products, being flexible in the training product, experiential learning, attracting people earlier and connecting to purpose. I mean, they're all things that, that are fundamentally important, I think, to building that pipeline of talent.
The other thing I'd add to that is a bit of a change is that we talk a lot about collaboration. I think we should also talk about co-opetition, that it's okay to compete and cooperate at the same time. So collaboration's a big space that we've all focused on, but it's okay to also be in co-opetition. So I think that's a space we can do some more work in.
Yeah, that's right. And it is one of the challenges in that, in the sort of business environment where you're thinking your competition is down the road, but to cooperate, to compete, and even if you are competing down the road, you're also both competing, outside of those borders. So very good point. Thanks, Adrian. So Tammy, new product development is essential for success in business, to capture new markets. So some businesses have been able to take that further by creating the market in parallel as the product development. So examples like iPhone or online media platforms like Facebook and Netflix. So how do you go about identifying problems that are worth solving and that customers are willing to pay for?
Sure, and I would also like to say congratulations on a really solid plan, a solid ambitious plan. Now, obviously the focus will be very much on execution, so, and my budget is always willing to help with that too. So to your question about knowing which problems to solve, I think you very much need to intricately know your client or customer's journey, so then you can identify the pain points that they may be feeling. Because if you're not across every single part of that journey, or even things that intersect with your product or service and the pain points that may be impacting your clients, you won't fully understand or know which are the big problems to solve. So for example, at my budget, a number of our clients needed to refinance their debts. And that is a significant pain point for people, knowing who to trust, going to the broker. Does the bank that I always bank with have a suitable product for me? And that was creating a lot of friction for our clients. So a way for us to solve that was to create our own lending business, but our own specific funding line for our clients, so we could influence the credit decisions and come up with a product that's suitable for our clients. We have most of the clients' data already to smooth that process out. So I really think it's about identifying what it is, what is the problem, and the only way to truly know that is to really know your customer and your client journey, so you can come up with that that suitable solution. In terms of customers and clients willing to pay for whatever it is that you've developed, I see a lot of fantastic products on the market, but people aren't prepared to pay the money to use it. So again, it comes back to what problem is it that you're solving, and I'll use my budget again as an example. A client who may be earning a good income, has credit cards, know they could be doing better with their money, why don't I have more savings? They're feeling pain with their finances. They're prepared to pay for and use a service like my budget. Take someone who's, say, earning the same income, maybe doesn't have any credit cards, isn't really that ambitious to having financial goals, doesn't care that money's coming in and out. They don't feel that same pain, so they may not want to pay for a service like my budget. So for us, it's identifying what are the big problems, and money is very stressful. It's a very stressful thing in people's lives, and it's not because they're not earning enough money to pay their bills, it's their relationship to that money. And so for us, we're solving the pain of you never having to worry about money. You get to live the life that you want and let us take care of it for you. And someone would be willing to pay for that as opposed to someone who doesn't feel the pain with their finances.
Great, and I think it's a really important part that's consistent, I think, across all SME businesses that are developing new product and service, which is really knowing your customer So customer engagement and understanding your customers and understanding their pain points and their problems that they're trying to solve, and then how do you develop your product and service. And I remember another really good industry leader in South Australia, Don McGurk from Codan, saying, his business development is actually about solving customer problems. It's not about developing a product and selling it. It's about solving customer problems and designing your product to solve that problem. So, so really interesting points. And then the other thing that we have seen in terms of getting customers that are prepared to pay for your product and service, we also see or have seen SMEs that perhaps don't value a service and they're not actually generating a revenue stream from it. So they're actually giving value away while they're developing a service or not so much a product but certainly a service. So so that's the other thing is if you are supporting customers and just ensuring that you're extracting the value from service, you're not giving value away from your own business. So thank you, and I'll just move now to open questions for the panel. So one of the 4 strategic priorities of the high-tech sector plan is connection and collaboration. So where do you see the opportunities to better collaborate? And Adrian, you talked about cooperation as much as collaboration, and linking in with research, business or government to help you create new high-tech products and services for global markets. So I'll start with you, Adrian.
I think a learning for our business is we've always had a great collaboration with universities, but I think as a business we spent a lot of time looking for universities to come and tell us what they were working on that was exciting, instead of taking our problems and well-formed problems to the university in a partnership arrangement with them. So right now we have, I think it's 18 students from universities, different universities here in South Australia with our business. So really understanding how those students and how engaging with the universities more specifically can benefit your business. It's just such a huge game changer for our business. But now we're starting to see it with industry. I see we've got BAE here, so nice to see you, Sharon. Collaborating also with other industries to learn from them. So I guess for us, we're already in defence, but we're learning a lot more by collaboration and working more closely with people that are already involved in an industry. So again, collaboration, co-opetition, I think that's going to be a big pace for us in the future.
Anthony, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I mentioned about opening our doors and encouraging the exchange of ideas. I think you can't underestimate how powerful that is. I know in our early years as a company, we learnt so much from going on the tours, particularly those organised by the state government, and swapping ideas with other business leaders. And we've got SMR just a 3 iron from us, and they regularly visiting our plant, and we're regularly visiting their plant, for instance. But another example, we put in 3 cobots, set up a new cell, and you can go and buy the cobots off the shelf. They're a commodity item, but I think the IP is in the software that the code that you write to make them work to create that productivity opportunity. And again, we hosted a tour, and I think there was about a dozen companies came to have a look at that, talk to the engineers that wrote the code for the cobots, the engineers that designed the setup, and all the complexity that goes with it. So I think more opportunities where, as businesses and university, we can swap ideas, get people involved, work on similar projects. The outcome is much better than 1 + 1.
Yeah. Great, thank you. So in a fast-paced, high-technology environment, how do you identify and get access to the right talent to grow your business? And is that presenting challenges for growth? Michelle, is that something that you've struggled with?
It's actually not presented a challenge yet, and the reason being where, we've got our Adelaide base is heavily our research and development team, and actually there's quite a strong talent pool in South Australia in the health and medical sector as well as in the AI space, so we're very fortunate. But I think as we kind of develop industry here, those demands are going to increase, and it's going to be really important to replenish the suppliers of those talents and also look to new kind of talents that are going to be required. And I agree with Adrian in that, those talents aren't necessarily kind of hardcore engineering or skills, there's a lot of peripheral talents that actually come together to work to build these companies. It's really a very multidisciplinary space to develop and deploy a technology or a product that's underpinned by technology. So it's quite an interesting opportunity for a whole breadth of skill sets to enhance that sector. And just while I'm talking, I just wanted to add a comment to the last collaboration. No, it's absolutely fine. Collaboration's really important, but I think sometimes we miss the point about intentional collaboration and understanding how we can kind of step outside our zone. For example, as an academic institution, you need to be thinking about how those academic kind of orientation of that research can really be utilised to build products. And by the same token, with industry, sometimes we don't think as much about research, but research can really enhance many of those products that we're kind of developing, and government has a role to play, industry has a role to play, everyone has a role to play, but if it's not kind of an intentional focus around collaboration, then it just won't happen. So it's kind of, we're constantly going out and trying to forge relationships, even with partners that may not be a suitable partner or may not be the most obvious partnership opportunity, but I think it's really important that we all kind of lean in and try and find those opportunities for collaboration.
Yeah, collaboration with intent and purpose is, I guess, what we would all be looking for. So, collaboration for collaboration's sake may not be overly useful. So thank you for that. And just on your earlier comment, Michelle, so, the flip side of having quite a good talent pool here in South Australia is, and I know we've had this discussion before, but having businesses like yours starting, growing and scaling here is actually important to give that talent somewhere to go here in South Australia. If you're not here, then they're leaving and they're going interstate or overseas to look for those opportunities. So that is the flip side, obviously, of having good talent. We also need the businesses that are growing and scaling here. So thank you. Tammy, did you want to add anything around skills and talent?
Well, we've always found it a challenge to find the right technical skills in our business because it is very competitive. So what's worked in our favour is really describing the why of our business, why we exist. We don't just make payments on people's behalf. We actually change someone's life through the relationship with money, and that has been how we've been able to attract and retain our technical talent. But it has absolutely been a challenge and still is a challenge. And to Michelle's point, we have looked to collaborate, and we started and are driving a Women in Tech series, and that is to raise awareness of the lack of females in the technology space. And at my budget, 50% of our team is actually females, so we're quite proud of that, and we feel like that's something that we can own, and we can work collaboratively with other businesses and industry and government to raise awareness of women in technology, and also for my budget, raise our profile in the technology space, because most people see my budget as a services company, which we absolutely are, but technology for us is like the oxygen we breathe. We need it to do our job, and it absolutely makes everything that we do so much more simplified for the client, and enables us to deliver that world-class service to our clients.
Great, thank you. Anthony or Adrian, did you want to add anything on the skills challenge?
Yeah, happy to comment on that, Adam. That's obviously you've got your traditional means of recruitment, but I guess what we're finding is when we ask people, what made them apply to come and work for our business, it's actually some of the more obscure things that you do that you'd sort of take for granted, but someone was on a factory tour, or someone went to a school and spoke, or we had a guest lecturer spot at a university. It's those opportunities that they're not instant payoff, but the fact is that you're getting your brand, you're also talking about your technology and sharing ideas, and that encourages a young person to say, you know what, I actually want to go and work for that business. And I think those sorts of things, you're giving back to the community, but also it's great for your own business to build that credibility. And obviously the most obvious thing is implementing the technologies in this plan is going to make your business stand out from the rest. So why wouldn't someone who wants to work in a high-tech space, come and work for your company. So I think for all of us to put these things into action, speaks louder than words.
Yeah, great. And to that point about profile and the brand of your business and raising that awareness, and that's not easy for a large number of SMEs in South Australia. So how do we support that brand awareness and promotion of the opportunities that are in South Australia in our SME community? And that's something that we'd certainly be keen to work with business and industry on, I think.
The only other thing I'd add, Adam, agree with everything said here, is I think there's a real opportunity to continue to work with schools to highlight there are alternative pathways. My children are later in school, and when I sit down at the schools and you're going through that year 10, year 11 planning, it is very much designated a pathway through university. So I think there are opportunities to show that there are alternative high-tech pathways for students as well. So we can grab a bigger pool of those students that have if are interested in STEM, but maybe university's not their thing. Let's have a look for what are some of the alternative pathways for them. So certainly big fan of universities, let's keep doing that, but what else can we do to attract students that may not otherwise think that tech is something that they can do?
Yeah, and you're doing that now, obviously, with Skills Lab, and also it doesn't have to be a single pathway either. So you're on that path through a non-traditional pathway, but that might ultimately lead to a university degree. So you can get on that sort of career pathway and education and learning pathway as well. So thank you. And look, I'm mindful of time. So after the panel session, there'll be an opportunity to grab some afternoon tea over at Three Little Pods just across the plant there. So I will just touch on and Anthony, you mentioned cybersecurity. So I will just touch on that. So obviously, with the rapid advancements in technology, we are seeing increasing security risks. So what's front of mind for you regarding protecting your valuable digital assets, and does more need to be done?
Absolutely. It's we spend a fortune on putting cameras outside our buildings and making sure the gates are locked, but we don't pay enough attention to cyber security. So I guess for me, when we about 18 months ago, when we did an audit of our cyber systems and brought in an expert company like Saab to help us, it just showed me that it's a journey. It doesn't start today and finish tomorrow. It's like anything; you have to keep working at it. And we've come a long way, but there's still a fair way to go. And I think the real key is the talent, the people that understand it and are able to help the rest of the organisation embrace it and not see that it's a problem. The fact is, this is the way we operate now, and we all live with it. But it is important. So knowledge is the key element of that. So I see there's a great opportunity here in South Australia, and I know we're really focusing on it in Lot 14. There's opportunities both in protecting our businesses, but in growing those skills so that we can export and become income generators from that skill set. So
yeah, terrific. Thank you. And Tammy.
Well, for us, for obvious reasons, cybersecurity is front of mind in everything that we do, and ensuring that we're following all the recommendations of the Essential 8. But I mean, I agree, it comes down to the people, and it comes down to the leadership actually prioritising cybersecurity and explaining, giving context as to why cybersecurity is so important. Because if you don't have that, it's just going to seem like a hassle to an employee, always having to have the two-factor authentication to clients. If there's no context as to why we are protecting our information and our data, and that there are real risks out there, and I agree, the risks, the cyber risks are far more prevalent than ever before. And like you say, we lock up our buildings, but the reality is we've got a lot more chance of being hacked than we have of someone breaking into our building. So certainly just doing everything we could possibly can do and having cyber front of mind in our new product development and everything that we're doing is, it's essential moving forward.
I think for us, during this period, the COVID period, it really heightened cyber for us, because we're typically working with industrial customers, so a lot of industrial customers couldn't get access to their plant. We have our operations centre here where we're supporting industrial customers, not just here but also all over the world, which was really interesting. It really demonstrated that a lot of our customers didn't have a strong cyber culture. They thought they did, but when everything was shut and all of a sudden you've got a company in Australia connecting to you remotely, it really highlighted some of their weaknesses. So I'm with you, Tammy. If you could do anything, multi-factor authentication, get onto that straight away. We have 5 cyber people, full-time cyber people in our business. Your patching is another area where people fall short, but creating that cyber culture is just so important, as Anthony said, within your business. But it can't be something that you're going to do tomorrow or start tomorrow. It's something you really need to start today. And I'm always shocked when you go into a big group of people and you ask in your business how many people are using multi-factor authentication, and it's surprising how big the companies are and how many people don't. So, that's a very simple cyber tick from the Australian Signal Directorate out of your Essential Aid. So, I would suggest have a close look at that.
And Michelle, as a technology platform business, I would imagine cyber's front of mind for you.
Yeah, it's huge for us because not only are we in the healthcare sector, which is heavily regulated, so we have to undertake to protect private patient data. We're dealing with very sensitive genetic data and other types. So it's really important. But then also I think one of the challenges with technologies like AI is that they're global, right? They can be deployed at global scale, which means that if you have a breach, it's a big problem. So it's really, I guess, there's cybersecurity processes to protect or to manage against intrusions and try and protect those types of material breaches. But I think everything that we're thinking about on a day-to-day is how do we actually build the technology to prevent or de-risk the possibility of a cyber attack, ring-fencing cloud servers, having everything kind of distributed and not centralising large data sets and all of the other cybersecurity concerns. But I completely echo the sentiments of the panel. It's really important for skills in this area and skills development in the state, and High's here from the Cyber Collaboration Centre, but it's one of those unique areas where you can actually upskill people from many different disciplines to be cybersecurity experts. And so what an amazing opportunity to be able to do that within the context of a centre like that and feed the businesses around us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Adam, can I just add to that? Something you just mentioned, Michelle, is that your industry is heavily regulated. I think the cyber security industry should be more regulated because things are moving so quickly and so fast. And so when you're a business of, say, my size, or you're even smaller, like a smaller SME, you want to be sure that the company that you're working with, people have got all the right skill sets for your business. And I think about the finance industry, we're heavily regulated. We need to ensure that we're doing our hours every year to make sure that we keep up with the changes. And I can tell you technology is changing 100 times faster than the finance industry, which is slow to change. So I really think if there was regulation, then there wouldn't be any situations where you think you're paying for something and then maybe that's not exactly what you're getting, or you don't even understand the contract that potentially of what you're supposed to do versus what someone else is supposed to do, because it can get complex. So just ensuring that there was regulation around the skills of the people that are providing those services.
Yeah, the service providers, and making sure that they're delivering the service that you're paying for and you think you're getting, because as you've all pointed out, talent and skills in this area is a big challenge. So there's a couple of things in that leadership around cyber. So making it a board level or a director level problem. It's not necessarily just an ICT solution, and technology is one thing, but cybersecurity is a human endeavour, right? I mean, the people that are after the details or the privacy or your customer data, they're all humans, and it's a very human endeavour, as is often the way into a business is through a human. Technology is one thing, but it is very much a human endeavour. So look, thank you very much to our panel, and thank you for your insights this afternoon. And we've heard a lot about the role of talent and skills. We've heard about understanding your customer in designing new product and service, and the role of technology in that. The role of technology internally to drive productivity improvement, but also to solve customer problems and new product and service development. So thank you very much to our panel. So if you can just join me in showing our appreciation for the panel members. So that concludes the formal part of our event, and thank you again to those people on live stream for taking time out to join us this afternoon. You can access the high-tech sector plan. I can't see the screens, but I'm assuming the web link is on the screens. Marissa, if you can give me a wave. No, it's not on the screens. It's the www.innovationandskills.sa.gov.au. And for those people here today, there are copies on your chair. So as you heard from the Minister, there are a number of activities that have already commenced under the high-tech sector plan, including the Australian Cyber Collaboration Centre. The Minister's announced an extension to Gig City and actions under Excite and Fix. But we'll continue to work with industry, universities and research institutions to develop proposals that grow our high-tech capabilities, enable productivity improvement, competitiveness and growth of this sector. So I'd now like to invite you to stay on and network over afternoon tea across in 3 little pods. I understand you can order coffee and afternoon tea is available. So thank you everyone again for your time this afternoon, and that concludes our event. Thank you.